This is the power of low volume, high intensity training. Literally just 2 hours per week in the gym, 2 hard workouts, 5 exercises per workout, couple sets per exercise. Very minimalist training. Don't listen to people who tell you need to live in the gym and sacrifice your life to build a great physique. It's fucking bullshit. This is just 2 hard sessions per week, in and out of the gym real quick. So I train twice a week for 3 primary reasons. The first one is, quite frankly, I don't care to be a gym rat. I don't care to live my life in the gym. I like to live a balanced lifestyle where I'm focusing on leveling up in multiple areas of my life, because that's truly where you're going to get the most fulfillment. I don't see the point of just having a great physique and having nothing going for you. So my fitness philosophy, and one other specific area of my life, can be summed up in hit it hard and hit it right, and then get out and on with the rest of your life. So that is my fitness philosophy summed up. But then how that relates to your physique development, the last 2 reasons stem from recovery. So when you have lots of recovery, every time you step into the gym, you're fresh and you're fully recovered, able to bring maximum intensity to your sets. And that actually stimulates much more muscle growth, puts more tension on the muscle than just going through the motions and doing 10 to 20 sets per muscle group, hitting the muscle from 5 different angles. And despite common belief, you don't actually build muscle in the gym. You build muscle outside of the gym when you're resting and recovering. So the goal of training is to stimulate growth with as little work as possible. You want to do the minimum effective dose of training required to stimulate growth. Get out, rest, recover, actually grow from that work, come back a little bit stronger and able to achieve progressive overload and string together those progressive workouts over time, which is what leads up to an incredible physique. So the key to maximizing muscle growth with a low volume training approach is to push your sets very, very hard. So there is a trade-off between volume and intensity. So the more volume you do, the more your intensity has to drop. And the more your intensity increases, the less volume you need to stimulate muscle growth. So if you're going to achieve success with a low volume and low frequency training approach, it is absolutely critical that you push every single set very close to failure. And this is why most people don't think that they can succeed with a low volume training approach where they're training just twice a week. If you think that you can't succeed training twice a week, you're probably training like a fucking pussy, and you need to up your effort and push your sets close to failure. Once you do, you'll quickly realize that you have no business being in the gym more than 2 to 3 times per week. Low volume, high intensity training is very effective for muscle growth for 2 reasons, and they both stem from recovery. So as a result of having so much recovery, by the very nature of you training very infrequently and with a low amount of volume in each workout, you have so much recovery. And what that does is it allows you to step into every single workout very fresh, fully recovered, and able to really train hard enough to stimulate muscle growth. So if you look at most people who are working out 4 to 6 days a week, oftentimes they're just going through the motions, because typically doing a lot of volume means spreading your effort and your focus thin. So they never actually are able to do justice to any single exercise or any set that they do in the gym. They're just going through the motions and they can never train hard enough to stimulate growth. Second reason is because you actually don't build muscle and strength in the gym. You build muscle and strength outside of the gym. So the goal of training is to stimulate muscle growth with a very, very small amount of hard training, get out of the gym, rest, recover, come back a little bit stronger. And that's really, really what builds an incredible physique. It's not about living in the gym. It's not about doing 10 to 20 sets per muscle group or any of this fucking bullshit.
So my morning routine looks like getting out of bed, having a coffee, getting a quick shower, and then getting straight to work. So I don't believe in these long-winded morning routines that are very popular in the self-improvement sphere, where people need to wake up, they need to do their red light sauna, then they need to do a cold plunge, and then they need to meditate, and then they need to journal, and before you know it, it's been 3 hours, they haven't gotten shit done. So one of my favorite quotes is from Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy says, always eat the frog first thing in the morning, right? And what that means is getting your most important task for the day done right away. So I like to minimize the amount of time between waking up and getting to work. So usually I'll just wake up, I'll grab a coffee, I'll shower, and then I'll get straight into my most important task for the day, and I'll work for about 3 to 4 hours. My low volume training approach allows me to excel in other areas of my life for the simple fact that I don't spend very much time in the gym obsessing over my fitness routine. So with my low volume, high intensity training approach, I spend maximum 2 hours per week in the gym, which leaves me so much time to focus on leveling up in the different areas of my life. And that's what Polarity Fitness is all about. It's about having your fitness dialed in, but also focusing on all the different areas that you can improve in your life, because there's nothing fulfilling about being a one-dimensional gym rat. You will get the most fulfillment out of being multi-dimensional and being a well-rounded human being that's focused on leveling up in the different areas of life. There is nothing cool about just being laser focused purely on your fitness routine. You want to be leveling up in your relationships, in your business or your career or your education. You want to be leveling up your knowledge, reading books, studying, doing different things like this. There's nothing cool about just being in good shape. So I prefer to walk instead of doing tedious forms of cardio like going for runs, running on the treadmill, doing high intensity interval training for a few reasons. The first thing is that I hate running. I hate doing this long, tedious cardio, and I know I'm not going to be able to sustain it long term. And if you can't do it for a decade, don't do it for a day. There's no point in me trying to fit in runs here and there because I'm not going to be able to sustain it and do it consistently over the long term. And it's really what you can do for life that counts. It's not about what you can do for a month, 2 months, 3 months, even a year, because if you look back, you're going to want to be in shape for the rest of your life. If you're looking back when you're 80 years old, you're not going to give a fuck that you were in shape for a couple years. It's about what can you do over the long term. The next thing is that despite common belief, intense forms of cardio are not productive for building a great physique. If you want an aesthetic physique, that means having a great body composition, which means having lots of muscle and little fat. And Intense cardio is counterproductive for both of those things. It's counterproductive for fat loss because doing intense cardio works up your appetite, causing you to fuck up more frequently in your diet and overeat your calories. And if you want to stay lean, that means keeping your calories lower. The next thing is that going on these intense runs, doing this intense cardio, puts a dent in your recovery ability. And when you're natural, when you're not taking PEDs, you want to put all of your resources, all your focus, all your effort into your strength training in the gym, because that's what's going to build muscle. Walking for me goes far beyond just the physical benefits. In fact, the way I see it, the physical benefits are kind of just the icing on top of the cake when it comes to walking. Walking for me is a chance to get outside, connect with nature, clear my mind, and just think about things, you know? I think as a society, we become so disconnected from nature, and I believe nature is the greatest mentor that we have access to. So I think it's absolutely critical, if you have the ability to get outside, go for a walk in nature. You know, you can listen to an audiobook, you can listen to a podcast, you can listen to music, or you can just not listen to anything at all and just like be present to the moment and connect with nature and just, you know, think about things. You know, some of my greatest realizations, some of my biggest epiphanies and breakthroughs in my life have come when I've just been on a walk, not listening to anything, just disconnecting from my work, from social media, from all this different shit, and just getting present to the moment and taking some time for myself. This is my lunch meal. I'm eating rice, tuna, olives, hot sauce, and some sour cream on top. It's a very simple, quick meal. Throughout the day, I like to eat light meals that don't take very long to prepare, just so I can stay focused on work throughout the day. And I like to eat light meals so that I don't feel weighed down, so I can focus and I can conquer throughout the day. And then later in the day, when it comes dinner time, when it comes evening, I like to eat a bit more food. And then that's how I structure my daily meals. So how I'm eating on my cut is I'm eating in a very small calorie deficit. So I'm eating around 24 to 2,500 calories per day. My maintenance calories are around 2,900. So I like to keep, you know, a moderate calorie deficit. And I like to stay focused on lots of whole foods to keep me full. So my sort of meal structure is, you know, 2 meals throughout the day, 2 light meals, and then a big dinner meal. And that allows me to save most of my calories for the end of the day, because the worst thing is going to bed feeling hungry. That's where people usually fuck their diets up, is when they're hungry in the evening, they're laying in bed and their stomach's churning and they're starving, and then they go and they eat, and then it turns into this binging thing. So I like to save most of my calories for the end of the day so that I can go to bed feeling full and satisfied. I think that would work best for most people in terms of meal structure.
You can tell a lot about who to listen to based upon who speaks mostly about fundamental principles rather than shiny tactics and shiny objects that seem super exciting and novel for the time being, but then don't stand the test of time. So if you hear people promoting the big basic compound exercises, they're telling you to train hard and push your sets close to failure and to focus on progressive overload and getting stronger over time. Those are people you want to listen to. But those telling you that there's some fancy exercise that's gonna magically get you the physique you want, those people are full of fucking shit. And the next thing to look at is if that person is using drugs or not. So literally 99% of fitness influencers in today's fitness industry are all using drugs. And obviously the game changes radically for people using PEDs versus people who are natural. And people who are natural have to take a very different approach to fitness than people who are taking drugs, mainly focusing more on recovery and focusing on strength gains over time, whereas bodybuilders can focus on just pumping light weights for endless amounts of sets and reps, just filling the muscle with blood, not focusing on getting stronger, not focusing on big basic movements. They can literally do whatever the fuck they want and build the physique that they desire. There's actually a lot of tests done that show that people who take PEDs and sit on their asses all day on the couch actually build more muscle than a natural trainee who's been lifting for years. Yeah, so I'm anti-bodybuilding culture, anti-gym hustle culture, and living your life in the gym, being a gym rat, because that's truly not where you're gonna get the most benefit out of fitness. You're gonna get the most benefit out of fitness when it's just one aspect of your life, when it's one facet that you're focused on and that you have dialed in, but doesn't take up the majority of your life, right? So fitness, you're gonna get the most benefit out of it by seeing it as just one aspect of your life and letting it fall into the background of your life. And what most people don't seem to understand is that bodybuilding and the fitness industry is an industry based on body dysmorphia. It's not a culture, it's not an industry that actually cares about health and well-being. It's a culture that has taken something that can radically improve your life and turn it into a destructive act that can actually take more from you than give you. So you want to strike the perfect balance between building the physique you want, being fit, being healthy, but also having the other facets of your life dialed in. And that's truly where you're going to get the most fulfillment. You're not going to get the most fulfillment by being in the gym 7 days a fucking week, living in the gym, being a gym rat, not having anything else going for you. So steroids have negatively affected the fitness industry in two ways, right? Bodybuilding culture, which I call steroid culture as well, the two are kind of interchangeable, promotes this idea of radical imbalance and sacrifice, whereby the gym literally becomes your life. And that is very destructive. That's not where you're gonna get the most benefit out of fitness. You're gonna get the most benefit out of fitness when you balance it with the other areas of your life and it falls into the background of your life. You don't even have to think about it. The second reason is that steroids radically change the process of body transformation. So what works for someone blasting steroids is not going to work for a regular drug-free lifter with regular genetics with a life and responsibilities outside of the gym, mainly because of the difference in recovery. So steroids give you superhuman levels of recovery, and that's why the bodybuilding culture, the bodybuilding industry promotes training 4 to 7 days a week, sometimes even 2 workouts a day, for fuck's sake. And that's not going to work for someone who's not taking drugs and whose life doesn't revolve around the gym.
Stop drinking the coffee, you little...
Dude, it's fucking getting cold, man. I'm gonna enjoy this coffee.
It is a filming coffee.
Okay, fine.
It's not an enjoyment coffee.
Okay. Well, dude, doesn't it make sense to just go straight into saying what I'm eating instead of saying, oh, so my lunch meal is blah, blah, blah? What do you think?
Tell me anything, my job. You know, I think I've had a pretty good idea. I think we should just go straight into like what you're eating. Washing.